Hello there, Stampin' friends. Welcome to Movie Monday with Jody Breckbill, Stampin' Queen. Today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute little shaker card. It has all kinds of little confetti in there, and it is moves around whenever you shake your card. So we did this at Wow Wednesday in my class last week. So this is a direct copy right out of something that is in our current catalog. So let me show you how we did this one. So the first thing that I did was take a piece of crushed curry cardstock, and I need to die cut out a rectangle. So I'm going to do that by using my square framelits, and I just laid it over top and ran it through the Big Shot. Then I just slid the rectangle down a little bit and cut the bottom part out, and voila, a rectangle. So let's go ahead and do all of our stamping first, and then I'll show you how to do the assembly. So I'm going to use, well, let me backtrack a little bit and show you the stamp set that I'm using today. This one is called Confetti Celebration. It's all about birthdays and is just perfect for creating some shaker cards. That is, I'll write up the page number on my little comments here so that you guys can find it in the new catalog. So I'm going to use crushed curry, melon mambo, and smoky slate. Those are my 3 ink pad colors today. So I'm going to start off with my crushed curry, and I'm going to stamp the little light bulb banners, like little party lights there, and just do those kind of in the corner here of the crushed curry piece that we just die cut. Okay, so you can set that one aside. While we have the curry ink out, I'm going to take a scrap of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to ink up the star and stamp that a while. Make sure I've got it good and juicy. So that is crushed curry ink stamped on Whisper White paper. And that's really all that we need for the crushed curry. The other stamping that we'll need to do is smoky slate. So I'm going to take my smoky slate ink and my smoky slate paper and stamp the hooray on a piece. This is just scrap paper here. Just stamp that on there. And while we have that out, I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White, and just all over this piece I'm just going to stamp the random birthday stamps. This is the piece that will actually be behind the shaker. So I'm just going to stamp It's Your Day on there, and then also the happy birthday. And it's very random. You want to kind of go off the paper as well, so it doesn't look like you tried to keep everything all combined there in one spot. And you want to do enough of them that they do show up behind the confetti that we're going to do. So we're going to have that piece go to the side for a little bit, and we're going to come back in with our crushed curry piece, the crushed curry with the rectangle in the center. Flip that over so that you've got the back facing you, and you're going to do some snail adhesive all around the edge. Do not be sparing with this adhesive. I know a little can go a long way, but when you're doing shaker cards, it's super important that you have good, strong adhesive, because the last thing you want is for somebody to shake your card and all the contents come spilling out. Now we're going to use confetti here on this one, so the pieces are a little bit bigger, but I've seen some of them where they've used sequins, or they've used glitter, even sand, like to do a little beach scene and have some shaker sand in there. And so you definitely do not want pieces of that falling out of your card. These are our window sheets, and they are totally clear. I have a piece of tissue paper here behind. That's what keeps them from sticking together. So you're going to cut a piece of the window sheet. They come in 12 by 12s, and you're going to lay that over top of your window frame. Make sure it is stuck nice and tight, because that, like I said, we don't want that to come out. So now you see that you've got a window glass, almost like a glass on your window there. The next step for making a shaker card is taking our foam strip pieces, and we now sell these in the catalog in nice long strips, and you can cut them to the length that you need them. And so we're just going to frame the inside window now. And you want to be fairly close to what you cut out, because if you are not, you won't get your confetti pieces will kind of get lost back in there. So if you need to, you'll trim down some pieces if it's a little bit too long. Okay, so now we don't want to see them through the window, so you want to be far enough off to the edge that it's not seen, but close enough that your confetti doesn't fall too far down and you can't find it. And like I said, if you need to trim it, you do want to make sure those corners meet up nice and tight so that you don't lose any confetti through there. And if you need to, you just do a little bit of trimming. You can also move it over if it's not quite meeting. Our pieces they're fairly big, so we're okay having maybe a little bit of gapping. But I'm going to continue using all these pieces because there's a ton of them that you'll get these little tiny pieces. So we want to just keep using them because they are still very valuable, because no one sees this, so it doesn't matter if it's not beautiful on the opposite side, because we're going to totally cover that up. So just fit those guys in there, make sure they are nice and stuck. Okay, so now the key to this is taking your confetti, and I used our new confetti punch and punched out a couple different colors with that. I did crushed curry, smoky slate, melon mambo, and added a little bit of our silver glimmer. So I went ahead and punched all that out. I'm going to put that in there. One thing I do want to make sure is that my glitter pieces are kind of facing down for the most part. Otherwise, they are not going to turn inside this card. They're just going to kind of shake up and down. So if you want the glitter to be seen, you might want to make sure some of those bigger pieces are flipped over before you attach your card. So this time, if you're doing sand, sequins, anything like that, you're going to put that in the center, and then we're going to just carefully start to peel these pieces off. Which I have all of my fingernails are totally cut down to nothing right now, so I'm having a hard time peeling. One little last piece there. Okay, so now they're all in there. Of course, now I just flipped all my silver pieces back over because it was stuck to my hand. Okay, so now the white piece that we did all of our stamping on, we're going to put that down on top. And the one thing that I did make sure of, okay, at this time, you want to make sure that you know what is the top and the bottom of your cardstock if you've already stamped it. This piece here, if you know that there's a top and a bottom, you kind of want to watch that for which side is. Okay, so this is my top right here. So that way my words go the right way. That's kind of what I'm getting at. And now you're just going to overlay that onto those foam pieces that you just added. Make sure, again, it's nice and sticky. And there's your shaker. Isn't that cool? Now, one thing you can do, sometimes this does get a little bit staticky. And one thing that you can do is take your embossing buddy and rub on your cardstock, just so that you don't get the static and have your shaker pieces stuck to the front. Okay, so let's see, what's our next step here while we've got this going on? Okay, we're going to take some of our melon mambo thick baker's twine and just do a little bit of adhesive on the back here. And I'm going to wrap one piece kind of around the middle, just wrap that around the front and then stick that down on the back. Adhesive on here. Again, when you're doing shaker cards, you can definitely use a good bit of adhesive, because the last thing that you want is for this card to fall apart, and it gets a little bit heavy when you add the shaker to it. And so I would suggest using the thick Whisper White cardstock as your card base if you want white, because it makes a really nice solid solid card. So now this is going to go on the front of your card just like that. Again, make sure it's nice and stuck. And I'm going to take that hooray that we stamped and punch that out with our 2-inch circle punch. Now I'm not sure, I think this one is still current. In our last catalog, we retired a bunch of our punches, and we now have circle framelets. So if you have circle framelets or circle punches, either one's fine to use, no big deal. And with a couple little pop dots, I'm just going to add this to the front of my card. A little bit more punching with the yellow star that we punched out. I'm going to use our medium star punch and punch this little guy. Okay, again, I think I'm going to add, kind of have an overlap here, so I'm going to do another little pop dot just up in the top there and have him, oops, I don't want that, overlay here on the hooray. And then our final step was, this is just a little bit of just white scrap paper, and I'm going to stamp the It's Your Day in Melon Mambo. I don't have a stamp cleaner, so stamp this guy here, and then I just hand cut it. It's a very tiny little piece of paper, so I just did a couple little snips. If it's not exactly straight, it's no big deal. This is a handmade card. And then another dimensional to hold this one onto the front of your cardstock. That's going to go right here. It's Your Day. And then our final step is to come in here with another piece of the Melon Mambo Baker's Twine. And what I decided to do with this one, I had ended up cutting my pieces a little bit too short. And so I just trimmed them down on the edge here, just did a knot instead of a bow, and actually just untwist them. So they'll kind of start to look like fringe a little bit. And then do both sides. If you want them a little bit shorter, you can definitely do them a little bit shorter. But these shaker cards are so much fun to do. So you can do circles, you can do stars, you know, any shape that you have a die cut in, that works perfect. And so all you need is a shape to do the cut and some window sheets and some of the foam tape. Works perfectly. Okay, so there's our little fringe there, and I kind of wanted it to hang down that way, so check it out. Isn't that cool? Your friends will love getting that in the mail. Speaking of mail, that is definitely a hand cancel card because of how thick it is. So if you are mailing it, you want to make sure that you are using I don't know how much they are anymore. They were 70-some cents, and I think they've dropped because the post office had a decrease in stamp prices. But you want to write hand cancel on the front of your envelope to make sure that it doesn't go through the machine because it is way too thick. So you can still mail them. You just have to do a little bit of extra postage on that. So I hope you enjoyed today's card, and I will see you guys next week for Movie Monday.